Okay. So I have no idea how I'm going to do this, but we'll figure it out. What I'm thinking of is we want to create a custom hook to use local storage, and in that hook is where we're going to put all the local storage stuff. So let's create a new file. Let's say use local storage. Right. We're not going to return this. We're going to return. So there's going to be a couple of functions because the purpose of this local storage, it looks like based on my notes here, says for results to stay consistent after page refresh, results are stored in local storage after fetch. So what it sounds like is when we do, let's refresh this. Okay, yeah, we're logged in. Obviously that needs to get fixed, but in here, let me see if our dashboard saved. Yeah, it did. So let's delete that. Go back here. Okay, so do this. Go through. And obviously there's going to be like loading and all that good like warnings and just letting the user know that this stuff is working. But right now we're just sort of trying to organize these components. Or I'm trying to organize these components. So what I'm going to do, so what it looks like here is that once we get to this page and we refresh, there's nothing happening. Okay, so the local storage is going to be so when we do refresh, it stays. You get the results. Let's go ahead and split this to the right. And see what we have here. So this is on use effect. Conspet results. And here we say if pet results, set results, JSON, parse, get local storage info, get item, get. So this looks like, and I think I actually deleted the part. Okay, so use pet results. Once we get the pet results, I think we would have to pass it in here. So we'll have pet results. Alright. And what we'll do is, forgot how, what is it? Let me see, local storage. So let me see, trying to remember how, okay, so local storage dot set. This is my cat. So I think the first argument is the name, right, of how you want to call it. Syntax for reading, syntax for removing, syntax for removing. So like my cat and then the values. So we want to say once we get results, I don't think, so here it looks like we're just getting local storage, get item. Yeah. So from the way that the page is going to load, so on initial load of the component is going to fetch the results. So we're going to have the results. And then we're going to pass the pet results. And I'm going to say local storage dot set item pet results. Pet results. And whenever the page is refreshed, wait, actually, what does happen if, hold on, so we are making a fetch to the API and we're getting the results. And according to, let's see, it's already saved. Okay, so we're gonna have to probably put this through the debugger, because it doesn't make sense why I need to store this in the local storage when the results are going to be constantly. Oh wait, this is to avoid having to hit the API so many times on refresh. So if the user is just refreshing, it's going to just be hitting the API a lot, and to avoid that, I think that's why I was like, let's just use the, and also it is, but it is weird that it's not. Let's delete this. Let's come in here. I do want to see that though. What is happening in that situation of cellular features, and we have the. There we go. I want to see what's going on here, so let's do get started here. Okay, so on the first round, we know that it's going to fetch the information, right? So it goes in here, fetches, sets the states, makes the fetch, returns the object. That is not going to get ran. This is going to, because it's true. And then we're going to go back. Oh. Right, because we're waiting. So we're going to go back into here. Going to go in here. Go in here. After we run this, results is still 0. So it's still gonna load. Wait, I don't want to do that. I don't want to go into that weird stuff. This is the only weird thing about React. It ends up taking you into their own code. So finally, at some point, the results need to load, right? Oy. It's taking me through a whole bunch of stuff. So let's just jump over all this, blah blah blah. This, blah 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 blah. Going through all that good stuff. Okay, finally get the results. Let's exit out of all this extra stuff. Okay, so we're finally gonna get the results. We say status is successful. And then we set results. We set is only to false. Oh, come on. Oh, why? I just want to know. Listen, I just want to know. We already committed. We gotta get through it. Why is this not going to the next? Okay. Okay, that was a waste of time. Okay. Yay, we have results. Maybe it wasn't too bad of a waste of time. So we have results. And you know what? I probably should have done this. This is kind of live and learn, right? Okay, so it's gonna render my results. Now I wanna know why. Well, I guess I can understand why it doesn't go through it again, because what happens after a refresh is that the pet info ID is no longer. Oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense. Wait, does it? Yes, it does. Because pet info, even though pet info is being saved to the database, when we refresh, pet info gets reset. The state gets reset. So it no longer has the pet. So I don't think I want to take this approach, but in order for pet info to be consistent and throughout this, because when you refresh, right, the page, the states get reset, right? So in my provider here, wait, no, it's not the provider. In where is the context folder? Page reference, context here. So in here, I have pet info and the state. So when I go from form 1 to form 2, pet info, the state gets updated with what the user selected. However, when it gets when you submit in form 2, even though it gets saved to the database, on refresh of that, how would you say, um, when you refresh your browser, you reset the states. So when I refresh this, my state pet info is going to be reset to an empty object, which will not have an ID, which then means that this, oops, that was just there, which then means that this doesn't have an ID, and it cannot fetch that information. Okay, cool, that makes sense. So like, if I were to want to not use local state, what I could do is, which I don't want to, because I don't want the user to hit the API every time they refresh the page, because they can like overload the server by just refresh, fetching, too much fetching. Now, obviously, there's, a normal person probably wouldn't do that, but like, or whatever. The point is that you're hitting the API too many times, and to avoid hitting the API too many times, because I could technically just do like a fetch in here, to keep this state consistent, and then like on refresh. But again, it's gonna hit the API too many times. So, yeah, I think using local storage is probably the best approach in this situation, so that the API won't be hit too many times, and the database won't be like consumed. A lot of data won't be consumed. So, cool, that makes sense. So now that we know why it does not work on refresh, make sure my server is still going. We're gonna use the use local storage hook. Let's split this to the right. So what we want is to set, so here, I think what we're going to do is say if pet results exist, do this, store it in the local storage. And then we're going to create a function called delete pet results. And I don't think I want to pass it. I think what I just want to do is be able to get the pet results. I'm not sure what was going on here, why there's so much back and forth, but basically, I'm going to do this. But also, I think I need to obviously JSONify it. JSON not parse. So when we return, I don't think I need to set results or anything like that. I don't think I want to do that. Oh, you know what? Because this is going to be undefined at some point. Results are no longer going to be. Ooh, that is tricky. Okay, let's figure this out. So, what's basically happening, or what's going to happen is when I refresh, this is no longer going to have the results. And we're going to need to use it, we're going to need to fetch the results from the local storage and use those results. The thing is that I don't want to return set results from use. I don't think that's the best way to go about this. So let me see. Returning set state from a custom hook React. I think what I would have to do is send down a function to like update state from the hook. So in here I would have to create const update results and then just set results to updated, or I guess I just say updated results. Although it's not really updated because the results weren't changed or anything. It's more of just local storage results. So I'll just say results and update. Oh, it's gonna be a conflict of local storage results. That's what I'll do. Local storage results, or it's too long. So let's say storage results, and then put that in here, and then grab this, put it in here, and then grab it from here, and then on use effect. So we want to say results. So wait, do we want a dependency? No, I don't think we need a dependency. Results. but also, actually, so what we want is, once we have on a use effect, we'll say if, because I think results would just be undefined, or what is it in here? It'll reset to an empty. So yeah, we would say if results dot length triple equals 0. We want to then, and since we can't really use a use hook in a use effect, we're gonna do use local storage. Oops. I say we need to create a state in here. Oops, no. Hold on, what am I doing? So if results equals 000. Okay, let's start from scratch. Actually, in this situation, because we're doing a lot of back and forth, let's write it out. So this is the workflow. We're going to write out the workflow. The workflow is, on initial render of this component, we're going to have results, right? So initial render component will have results and displayed, sorry. On refresh, all states are reset. Is resetted a word? On refresh, all states are resetted. I don't know if that's proper English, but we'll go with it. So that means that results will be an empty array. This means results will be an empty array. Is loading will go back to true, and error will go back to false. So that state results will be an empty array. Is loading will be true, and error will be false. Okay. What we want after page refreshes. So, or actually, let's see. The initial render component will have results defined and displayed. We will need to call the use local storage hook. So what we want is to capture the results when it first renders. We want to store those, right? So in the hook, so what we want to do is in the use local storage hook, create a function that will store results in local storage. We want to pass that function, or we want to, let's see, so we want to create a function. Let me rewrite this, because basically we'll need to call the use, we'll need to basically have use call storage, and in the use call storage there's a couple of functions that I think we're going to need. So we need the we need to create a function to call in this component that will store the results in local storage. That's what I was trying to get to. Trying to figure out how to explain that. So we need to create a function that we can call in this pet assessment results component that will store the results in local storage. And then once we store that information on refresh, so on refresh, we want to create another function, to retrieve the results from the local storage. And this function will be called in the use effect. Now, as long as I don't I do want to make sure that it doesn't get called on first render though, which it will be. The use effect will be. So we can do it either, we can set a condition that says like if results is an empty array, then like don't call the function. If it is no, that's not gonna work because originally like on refresh the results are gonna be an empty array. I think what we have to do is the use effect should probably have a dependency, because when the component first renders and it's going to have the results, the use effect is going to run because it's like it's the initial render. We don't want the use effect to run until results. So I think actually this is why I probably did this. So I'll probably keep this but instead of, so yeah, if pet results exist in local storage, then run the code. Otherwise, don't bother. So I think we'll keep it this way. So this function will be called in the use effect. So we need to create a function that will store the results to local storage in the initial when the component is first mounted. And then when it's refreshed, run the use effect. So after that, whenever the user deletes, starts all over, or saves, we want, basically when the component is unmounted, so whether they save it or not, or whatever it is, we want the results to be deleted from local storage because we're no longer going to need it in there. We just need that information on this component. So here we'll make a note that says when user navigates to another component or page, delete the pet results from local storage. What are you talking about? UST doesn't. I don't think I'm using UST anywhere. Oh. Wait, no, it's being used in here. Oh, I think it's in here. So let's go ahead and split this to the right. Now that we have an idea of the workflow that we want, we obviously want a function to delete pet results. We want a function, and we'll just delete this, and we'll delete this. So we want a delete function. We want a store function. So store results function. And we want to retrieve. So store wants retrieve. Is that how you spell retrieve? Retrieve results. Store results and delete results. So we want to store it, then we want to retrieve it, and then we want to delete it. That's a lot better. Alright, so let's start with storing it. Let's delete all this extra stuff. So, results, retrieve results, delete results. And I wonder if, okay, let's go ahead and move this for now. We'll put it down here so we can reference it later. And then we'll move this up here. And then we'll come here. Alright, cool. So use effect. So we want to store the results, right? On the first render. So I'm going to say store results, and we're going to pass in the results. Say results. And here I'm going to do local storage.set item. Say head results. Head results, and we're going to do results. Key name value. So yeah, that's not useful. So yeah, there we go. We want to stringify it. So we're going to do JSON stringify results. Okay. That way when we get it, we can just parse. Okay. So this is going to store it. And then when so use effect, I wonder if I need to use use effect, or maybe I could, no, because if I use it outside of it, it's going to run this function every time. We'll think about that after we set this up. So if so what we want to do is say use effect. And we say actually we don't need to pass this in here anymore. We'll say if we're going to const storage results local says to JSON.parse local storage.get item, and we give it a get results. And say if storage results exist, we would do update results, and we're going to pass in the storage results. Oh, wait, hold on. That's what this is for. We're actually gonna do. Actually, we're gonna do. No, it isn't going down. Maybe we don't need to create a. Yeah. We can just say retrieve results. And here, we don't need to pass in anything. Just say return. And then, okay, so based on this, on refresh, it should work. So let's go back to dashboard. Delete this. So many errors. So bad. Get started. Okay, and so if we refresh, Perfect. Just what we wanted. Okay. Did I say this? Did I forget to say this? Okay. So let's go back. Let's delete. Let's get started. And let's go to the source. Let's expand this. Features, pet, component, pet results, and let's see what's going on. So let's go through here. Oops. Sneezing, coughing, breathing. We have our results. Actually, I forgot to. I probably should have done the breakpoint. But let's see what happens on a refresh. Okay, so my theory, or the way that I think it should happen, or should have worked. Basically, when the component refreshes, the states get reset. But also, these use effects get run. And so, actually, real quick, is it application? Oh! Wait, why is pet info empty? Wait, where is pet info being set? Pet results. It's an empty array. Let's see. First component. Wait, let's see. Use effect. React. On refresh. Let me see. Let me write this. Basically, I want to know, does the use effect run on refresh? It doesn't seem like it does. It seems like it does not refresh table with use effect. Graphic user customers controlling, fetching data, specifying. After every render, keeps running, clean up logic, visual SE clicker before it runs. It's not helpful. Working on a rare project. Using use effect to fetch profile information from column is location mouse. For the first time, I can fetch the data with a file, but if the refresh page doesn't work at all, I'll have to get the second round to use effect or try plugging. I think I fetch information using the use effect to fetch. Wait, this seems to be the same one, but maybe in response, you know, let's try. There might be somebody who could explain. To do that, to declare interesting. They do. Otherwise, it seems like on refresh, use effect does not run. Wait, no, but this is after. It says yes. Does use effect run after every? No. I want to say use effect run. Page refresh. Let me see. Use effect. Page refresh. Or yeah, page refresh. While you can technically trigger a full page refresh using use effect in React, it's generally not the recommended approach. Browser refreshing this properly to ensure smooth user experience. Will explore the practices. Identify browser refresh. Identify browser refresh event in React. Oh, come on, you're not gonna let me read this article. That sucks. This is so wrong. So attempts to leave a refresh. So we can leverage the before unload event. This event is triggered when the user attempts to leave or refresh the page. By handling this event, we can intervene and prompt the user with a confirmation, allowing them to choose whether to proceed with the refresh or cancel it. I guess that is one way on refresh. we're gonna let the user know like, hey, this information is gonna be deleted. So let's look at before unload. The before unload event is fired when the current window contained document and associated resources are about to be unloaded. The document is still visible and the event is still cancelable at this point. The main use case for this event is to trigger a browser-generated confirmation dialog that asks the user to confirm if they really want to leave the page when they try to close or reload it, or navigate somewhere else. This is intended to help prevent loss of unsafe data. So call. I mean, the data is kind of already saved though. To trigger the dialog being shown, the user closes or navigates the tab. Event handler function should call. Requires sticky activation for the dialog to be displayed. In other words, the browser will only show the dialog box of a frame where any embedded frame receives a user gesture or user interaction. It's never interacted with the page, then there is no user data to save. Only show generic browser. And it suffers from some problems. It is not reliably fired, especially on mobile platforms. For example, the before unload event is not fired at all in the following scenarios. A mobile user visits your page, the user then switches to a different app. Later, the user closes the browser from the app manager. Before unload is not compatible in Firefox. Bad folder cache, folder rule. It is therefore recommended that developers listen for before unload only when users have unsafe changes, so if dialog mentioned above can be used to warn them about impending data loss and remove the listener again when it is not needed to listen before. So we can minimize the effect on performance. For unload handler. Actually, yeah, that is not it. The only thing is that it's not compatible with Firefox. So what we can see is like before unload alternative for Firefox. So let's say visibility change and page hide event are alternatives to the before unload event in Firefox. Is it? So like the unloading performance, this event is not reliably fired by browsers, especially on mobile. Page hide event is not fired at all in the following scenarios. Unlike these, this event is compatible. And the listener to this event will not prevent the page from being included in this event. Let me see, go all the way down. Page hide event. What are the numbers in the room? So for these full support. So this one has full support because is this the which was this one? For activation by returning a string. Activation using. Wait a second. Oh, okay. So this is talking about the mobile. It's not supported in mobile Safari. Why is this space on Firefox not supported in mobile? It seems to be. This seems to support everything it says. Here it's supported. I don't understand why I would say up here that. Maybe I probably misunderstood. It's true the dialog being shown when the user closes or navigates the tab. Before event handler should call on the event object. You should note that modern implementation requires sticky activation for the dialog to be displayed. In other words, the browser will only show the dialog box if the frame. Okay, so in Firefox, it's not compatible with the back and forward cache. So if the user goes back, it's not going in Firefox. It's not the warning is not going to be thrown because it's not going to cache it. But it will if you try to refresh. It is compatible if you try to refresh. And so it is recommended that developers listen for before unload only when users have unsaved changes. The thing is that it automatically saves it, like I said, in here. And all I want is just to, so maybe we can find an event listener that will just listen on a refresh to basically say like, hey, if you refresh, you're gonna lose your data, or you're gonna eat. Well, maybe just do like an alert and just say like, data will be lost. Do you wish to continue? Or on refresh. On refresh. So I mean, we could use this. This is mostly the approach. If something isn't saved, but since it is going to be saved, if they navigate to another tab, it'll be saved. It'll automatically be saved. The only reason why I'm taking this whole local storage approach is because on refresh, you're just gonna see a loading. Yeah, and at this point, results is an empty thing, so that makes sense why it's setting it to empty. Because on refresh, it does trigger it, but at this point, results have been lost. So this isn't gonna work. So we could think about this. I think what I can do, actually, is let me see if there is a refresh event. destination is an interface that represents the actual location URL of the object it is linked to, in this case the URL of the page. If you want to reload, it can be accessed via either document allocation or window. Alright, is this a text? No, I don't want to do that. How to refresh my page using history? No, I don't want to do that. Clicked. Okay, yeah. Before unload. Alright, so let's do it. We're gonna use before unload. And we'll go ahead and do that in our next video.